Right, welcome to your first lesson on trigonometry. So hopefully you've done Pythagoras by now. Now we're on trigonometry. We're looking at right angle triangles still, but we can work out missing lengths using angles. Before we can do that, we need to look at how to label the sides of a right angle triangle. The first bit is the angle. This sign is called theta, and this is usually used to represent an angle. The opposite side is always opposite the angle that we are given. Hypotenuse, we learned in Pythagoras, the hypotenuse is the longest side of a right angle triangle, or opposite the right angle. And then adjacent is the side that is next to our angle. I always label the opposite first, then the hypotenuse, and then adjacent is the one left over. Likewise, if the angle is in a different position, the opposite is now, again, it's opposite our angle, but it's the bottom one. Adjacent is next to our angle. Hypotenuse remains the same, it's the longest side. Now, a long time ago, someone worked out that if you have an angle in a right angle triangle and you paired that with the correct ratio, you could work out a length of that right angle triangle. And there are three different ratios, and these are known as sin, cos, and tan. Now you need to be careful when you're using your calculator with degrees, because your calculator could be in the wrong mode called radians. So type in sine 10 into your calculator and hopefully you'll get 0.174. If you do not, you need to check your calculator in the right mode, make sure it's in degrees mode. And so we can begin using trigonometry. These are the three formulae that we need to know off by heart. It looks complicated, but actually once we've gone through a few examples and I'll teach you a method of learning these off by heart, it's not too bad. So let's start with just one of the formula, and then later I'll show you how to decide which formula we are using. So for now we're only going to use the sine formula. So if this was our triangle, we need to work out the value of x. We've been given 40 degrees and we've been given the hypotenuse is 8 centimeters. Our first step always is to label our triangle, which we learned at the beginning. So we know that this is the hypotenuse. I'm going to write down hype. I know that this is the opposite, so I'm going to write down opposite, op, and that remains this to be adjacent. First step is complete. Now, I'm trying to calculate x, which is the opposite, and so with that, I'm going to cover the opposite on my formula triangle. And that leaves me with sine theta times hype. So, sine theta, so 40 is my angle, times by hypotenuse, which is 8. Put that into your calculator, and that gives me 5.14 centimeters. That is my answer. X on my right angle triangle is 5.14 centimeters. Let's try another question then. This time 35 degrees is my angle. I'm trying to work out x. First step as always, label hypotenuse. This is the opposite and adjacent. I'm trying to work out the hypotenuse this time. So with my triangle, I'm going to cover the hypotenuse. That leaves me with opposite divided by sine 35. So into the calculator, opposite is 4, divided by sine 35 gives me 6.97. So the answer to the hypotenuse is 6.97 centimeters. Right, time for some practice then. These only use the sine formula. I recommend pausing the video and having a go at some of these questions. And here are the answers. Did you get them correct? Now the next formula works exactly the same way. Same method. Here is our triangle. First step as before, label hypotenuse, opposite, and adjacent. We are trying to work out the adjacent, so we're going to cover the adjacent in our formula. and that leaves us with cos theta times by hypotenuse. So that's cos 40 times by 8. Put that into your calculator and that should give you 6.13 centimeters. Okay, use that information, have a go at some of these. Pause the video. And here are the answers this time. And it should be no surprise that the tan formula is much the same. Label, opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. We're trying to work out the opposite, so we're going to cover the opposite. That leaves me with tan 24 times by 11. Put that into your calculator, you get 4.9. And so these are our three formula. Very easy to use, hopefully you've noticed, but we need to remember them off by heart. All you need to do is remember the word SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. Right, now I know the formula off by heart. How do I know which formula to use with which triangles? So, question 1, let's have a look at this one. Is it SOH, CAH or TOA? First step, as before, label. This is the opposite, this is the hypotenuse, this is the adjacent. With my question, the adjacent has no information, so I'm going to get rid of that. That leaves me with O and H. SOH, CAH or TOA, the only one with O and H in there is SOH. So I'll be using the formula SOH. Okay, question 2. Same again, label. This is the opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. This time, my opposite has no information. That leaves me with A and H. SOH, CAH or TOA. You can see CAH is the only one with A and H. Right, have a go at the others. Pause the video. And here are the answers. Right, did you understand the lesson? Let's see. Have a go at this question in full. Let's see if you got it correct. So, first step, label. This is my opposite. This is the adjacent, and this is the hypotenuse. My question does not use the hypotenuse, so that leaves me with the opposite and the adjacent. Which of my SOH, CAH or TOA uses the opposite and adjacent? It's TOA. This is my formula. Next step, I'm trying to work out the opposite. So I'm going to cover the O. That leaves me with tan 27 times by the adjacent. So tan 27 times by 7. Into my calculator, that gives me 3.57 centimeters. My value for X is 3.57 centimeters.